Today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is about implementing Windows Service Account security best practices. Followed by this, on September 26th, we have enabling password management best practices in a multi-vendor network environment. So I just want you to pass on this message to your network team. They'll be really interested in this topic. And also we have a few more interesting sessions that is coming up for this year. Stay tuned, and I request all your presence for the upcoming sessions too. With no further delay, let's begin today's session. Once again, welcome everyone. My name is Christus and I'm from the Password Manager Pro team, and I'm a product consultant here in ManageEngine. Today's topic, implementing Windows Service Account security best practices. So when I talk to many people about privileged identity management, the first thing they think about is local accounts. So when I say privileged identity management, the first thing that comes into a mind of any IT administrator or a system administrator there is the local accounts. So I go to them to the next level, and I explain about the real privileged identity management. So what it actually involves is not only the privileged accounts on your IT infrastructure, just not only the privileged accounts to store all your privileged accounts. You have to find out where they are used. So for example, the topic today, service accounts, where they are used. So many administrators will not have any idea about where these accounts are located and what these accounts are used for. This means locating every account, figuring out where and how they are used, and then changing their credentials everywhere, all without causing an outage, is what a perfect privileged identity management means. So many servers use local accounts like root, or on Linux you have root, and administrator on Windows servers to run like persistent applications. So whether or not someone logs into the machine, or it doesn't matter. For example, like you have websites, would be an example of a persistent application. So for a web app or an application could be a persistent application that requires an account to run. For example, take Microsoft SQL database. For some reason, you will need the Microsoft SQL database service to run with a privileged account or a service account, right? So when you have Active Directory and you have your database server connected to your Active Directory, you'll end up in creating a new domain service account, and that is what it is classified as two. And in this slide, which is domain service account and the local service accounts, right? So what domain service account is that when you have the server connected to your Active Directory, you have domain service accounts created and you assign it to the SQL servers. So when it is not connected to your Active Directory, or you don't want to end up creating multiple service accounts on your domain, you create a local account on your own server or the endpoint, and you assign it to run a service, which is called local service accounts. So these are the two accounts that every administrator end up creating to be used to do some job. It is used to, since these have certain amount of privileges on them, these accounts. So if not the full domain admin, at least a certain level of privileges are available on these accounts, which are service accounts. So these are not just to run the services. So you go to services.msc and use this account. These accounts are not just only for that. It goes beyond, like you have scheduled tasks and that requires a privileged account, a service account, you use it there. You go for IIS app pools and that requires a service account, you use these accounts, and these are together collectively called as service accounts in a Windows term. So why do the attackers why are they so focused on service accounts? Are because of the three major factors which is listed on my screen, which is privileged. The service accounts are actually privileged, which I said during the previous slide. Even if not the full privilege is given to a service account as a domain admin or an enterprise admin, they play a certain amount of privilege in your Active Directory or your Windows infrastructure. So the service account exists to be privileged because you will not need that account if there is no privilege on it. So you're going to just run an application or install an application and go by that. So just start using that, right? So there is no privilege required. So the service accounts are privileged. They exist to be privileged. The second important factor is that the service accounts are invisible. Set it and forget it. So that is what all administrators do, right? So IT administrators, system administrators, or Windows administrators create an account upon a request, a developer requesting for a service account, and sends a request to the system administrator or a Windows administrator. They end up creating the account in Active Directory and they forget it. So give it to the developer through mail or chat, which is again a bad practice. And also they forget about the account altogether. So set it and forget it. So which we humans tend to do, right? So third one is the service accounts are ubiquitous. That is, they are spread across your IT infrastructure, which you have no idea about where these accounts are being used. So if you go to Active Directory, you have no idea about, you see an account, you have no idea about where this account actually resides or exists. So you see it in Active Directory, but even you don't want to change the password there in Active Directory because that might cause a lot of service disruption. Right, so you are afraid about that account resetting the password account, so you just let it there and you will not know where this account is being used. So you will have decommissioned applications, decommissioned servers. You will not have any idea about where this account is used and where this actually exists. So the service account is ubiquitous. So you have one or more everywhere across your IT infrastructure. So today I'm going to quickly talk about a famous attack technique which is called Kerberoasting. So the name is derived from the Kerberos authentication that service accounts normally use. So during this attack technique, the attack synopsis, what exactly happens is that the attacker who has gained a local access to a, let's say a desktop on your infrastructure, on your network, right? As a first thing, what he does is he scans the Active Directory for any user accounts with the SPN value set. So what does SPN value means is that it is a service principal name that will be assigned for all your service accounts out there. So when you create a service account, you will have an SPN value set for your service account. So that is what an attacker does to find out the service account list. He just scans the Active Directory for user accounts with SPN values set so that he can clearly differentiate between a normal user account and a service account in Active Directory. So once the list of accounts are obtained, so once he gets the list of accounts, the attacker requests the service request from Active Directory using the SPN values. So he has got the SPN values. Now since back in the Active Directory, give me some tickets, the service tickets for these particular accounts. And there are too many cyber attacking tools available out there. You can just search and find out the service account cracking tool, which I would don't like to mention during my masterclass. So there are too many tools available out there using which you will be able to extract the service tickets to the memory. So you are just bringing it offline. So you don't want to contact Active Directory too many times because there might be some alerting software that alerts the administrator. So I bring it offline. I bring the service tickets all offline, put it into a file. So once it is obtained, once the you have the service tickets on the file, I'm going to run a password cracking script onto them on the service tickets. So what it actually has is the password cracking script. What it has is that it has the NTLM hashes of my passwords. I have a dictionary of passwords for which I have already created an NTLM hash, and I'm going to run this hash against the tickets. So it's not a direct password dictionary attack, but it is kind of an attack that involves an NTLM hashes to go out there and decrypt the service tickets. So when the ticket is finally open, the service account's passwords will be presented to the attacker in clear text. So this is how it goes, right, for service account attacks to find out a service account. So after the attacker obtains the service account password based on the privilege level that is set on the domain, the attacker has his hand on your network. He can do anything, like he can elevate any accounts, or he can then play with that account on your IT infrastructure. You know how serious it is. You know the story, right? So that is how it is portrayed, the Kerberoasting attack. And this is not just the only attack available. There are too many attacks available there that is targeting on your service accounts. So what are the practices that we have to follow in order to get rid of all these attacks on service accounts? And also, many of you would be familiar about this screen. So this is an account which we choose when we create a service account. This is an option which is checked there, which says password never expires. So I don't want the service account password to be expired, which would in turn cause a disruption on my service. So I don't want the password to be expired. So I make sure I check this option when I create a service account. So these are the best practices that I would suggest you to follow in order to mitigate all these kind of attacks with service accounts. The first being define. So when I say define, it means like when you create a service account on your Windows Active Directory, and make sure that you're creating a password, a strong complex password that you assign it initially to a service account. Don't forget about, don't worry about how we are going to manage this password, because we have a solution for that. You have a place to store and manage the passwords, right? So when you define or create a service account, make sure you provide a complex password, which would again be difficult for the attacker to crack the password when it is more complex and it has more characters on it, right? So the first thing is to make sure that when you define or create a password, create it with higher complexity. The second option, the second best practices would be discover. So discover all your service account first that are present out there on your IT infrastructure, on your Windows environment. How many service accounts are available? Just try to discover all those and add it to a centralized vault. Use a discovery tool. Third option is to delegate, right? So when someone asks to create your system administrator for a service account, create it and don't share it with chat or an email, which is not a secure way of sharing sensitive information like password. So make use of some password management tool like Password Manager Pro to share the credentials. The fourth option is manage and protect. Make sure you periodically rotate the passwords on the service accounts. Not just rotating the passwords will help. Go ahead and look for a tool that goes there to the place where it is being used, updates the password and restarts the service. Manage and protect. Protect is what we are going to see next. How you protect the passwords on Password Manager Pro. Review and audit. Make sure you review the account on a periodic basis and audit for any anomaly. So if there is anything going wrong, keep auditing the service accounts, which are also very important. So I would suggest this on all my masterclass, which is all privileged accounts, including service accounts, should be put inside a centralized vault so that you can manage, protect, and you can also rotate passwords periodically, and also make sure that they reside in a centralized safe vault with no too many access, with all role-based access that is configured within the solution. So make sure you protect all your service accounts. So now let's see how ManageEngine Password Manager Pro helps with managing service accounts. So this is the user interface of Password Manager Pro. I'm going to quickly log in. So this is the beautiful dashboard of Password Manager Pro web interface. So today what we are going to talk is about the discovery. Okay, so before that we saw the best practices, which is the define. Right, so when you're going to create a service account, what you do is come to Password Manager Pro, go to the desired resource, add an account, and make sure you create a complex password based on the policy, so that now you can see that Password Manager Pro generates the password. All you need to do is just copy the password, do a Ctrl+C, put it on your service account, and just click and add and save here. part is over. When you create a service account, you're just adding it into the vault. Simultaneously, you're doing an operation. Also, you got a strong password that Password Manager Pro is generated and given to you to apply it for your service account. So don't end up creating password at 123, test at 123, system at 123. Don't end up creating such easy passwords for service accounts. Create complex passwords. So this is how you define it. Second is discover the service accounts. How does it do? How Password Manager Pro discovers the service accounts out there. So right now we have Active Directory import option in Password Manager Pro. And I'll say PMP domain controller administrator. I'll say fetch groups and OUs. What initially Password Manager Pro does is it generates the list of OUs and groups available out there in your Active Directory. And you select the list of OUs or groups that you require, put a check mark and do an import. So the moment I click on import, what Password Manager Pro does from the background is that it automatically discovers the computers on this OU. The computer objects on this OU are automatically discovered, and it goes another layer and finds the local accounts on them, on all the computers. And it doesn't stop there. It just goes further, scans for the service accounts, looks if there are any service accounts assigned for any services, or if you have any IaaS application pools using an account. It just finds it out, it scans it, and it adds it as a resource in Password Manager Pro. So you have domain controller and all the service accounts will be consolidated right here. So discover, first thing is discovery, right? So I have so many accounts here. How do I find which servers are they part of? So we have a beautiful icon that is available next to each and every account that you can click. So now you can see what are the services running. So I have something called PMP wrapper service, and I have Password Manager Pro servers, and on this computer running using this account. So I'll be able to get a consolidated list of all the service accounts. Isn't that cool? And I'll be able to see for any account I have, I'll be able to see I have a Prince Spooler service on this machine running with this account, and I have so which we already saw. So this is how you find it. Okay, this is how you see which account is assigned to what server using Password Manager Pro. And also we have scheduled tasks available that you can identify. So I'm going to show you with a different resource. So I have another resource here. So this is from a different, so you can, Password Manager Pro supports multiple domains. So you can have multiple domain controllers, and you can do cross domain controllers as well, which will be really useful for multiple domain controllers or multiple domains available on the network. See, it has just fetched all the scheduled task accounts. It finds the scheduled tasks, and also like if you want to find out the IaaS app pool accounts, it clearly displays, as you can see, IaaS app pool name, default app pool, and I have an application pool running on this account which says resource name as PMP-win8. Great. So also have IaaS web.config. So during the scan process, during the discovery process, Password Manager Pro has already found out all the accounts, their services, their scheduled tasks, the IaaS app pool, web config files, if you have them hard-coded. It has automatically identified all those accounts, and it is discovered into the vault, into Password Manager Pro. Great. So the next best practices that we were talking about is delegate the permission. So when you create a service account, how do you share it? Chat or WhatsApp, or let's say email. Don't share it from there. You create an account, discover it from Password Manager Pro. We have options here to delegate permissions. So you can share this account with the required users with different access levels that you can see. So the user can get the password out of here, so that you get a complete audit about when a user used what password. So secure sharing, which is very important, delegating the permission. The fourth option is manage and protect. So protection, which is already done into Password Manager Pro, which is a highly secured, dually encrypted database which Password Manager Pro offers. All your passwords are added to the database of Password Manager Pro. Right. Manage. So manage is how do you reset the password on your service account. So create a group which says service accounts, specifically for service accounts in Password Manager Pro, and you create a criteria stating resource type contains Windows domain. So Windows domain has a SD in the middle. So I say contains SD. I run a search, so I get all the accounts, but I don't want all the accounts. I'm just looking for the administrator account. I add another criteria stating user account contains administrator, which automatically adds just the administrator account to a group. So these are the service account that I want to manage every 60 days. I want to reset the password every 60 days. Just go ahead and do it by configuring the periodic password reset option. I want to do it now. You can perform password reset. Also, you can say periodic password reset, and next. Generate unique password or use the password specified here for all accounts, daily or monthly or once as you wish. Schedule the password reset so that Password Manager Pro makes sure that it goes out there every 30 days or 45 days or 60 days based on your schedule. It goes out there, resets the password, and just not it stops there. So because service account resides on your domain, it does not stops just with a reset. It goes to each and every service and updates the password when you have this option enabled, which says reset and restart. It updates the password. If you want to restart the service, it does the restart as well. So this is how the service accounts are managed from Password Manager Pro. How do you reset the password? How do you reset and restart the service from Password using Password Manager Pro? Finally, review and audit. So you have all the service accounts. Each and every operation is audited, and review the audit. Review the service account by just doing a query report. So just look for service accounts under the query report, open it, and you find all the service accounts, where they are located, all information. Just export it to XLS or PDF or email it directly as to your auditor as you wish, just to pass on the compliance that I have the service account list. You send it to him, as well as if you have it grouped together, you'll be able to get group-based reports as well about the service account, about when it is rotated, the last time it is reset the password, all information, all schedules, audit information will be available on the report on the service account groups as well. So this is how Password Manager Pro helps you to manage your service accounts in your Windows environment or your IT infrastructure. So questions time. So I see a lot of questions popped in. I will draft out an answer and I will publish it in our website where you registered for the link, and all this will be shared with you. The question answers and the video will be shared with all the participants. Or if you want to view it, just go to Password Manager, just look for Password Manager Pro Masterclass in Google, and the second link that you have to select. The first one is for the previous year. That will be even useful. Just look for it and view webinar, and you can download the question answers right from here. So we have the first question for the day, which says, could you please explain how the RDS works for external vendor? So we have another masterclass for this topic. How do you can provide RDS for external vendors? I request you to attend that masterclass. I'll just show you when it is actually scheduled. Onboarding employees and vendors, that is external vendors for secure remote access provisioning, which is on October 10th. So I'll just show you how this can be done from Password Manager Pro.
So the external vendors, you have to just create them in Password Manager Pro. Password Manager Pro, you can also use this as a tool to automatically connect. So what are the benefits of this is that you can share your passwords, privileged passwords to your users, the vendors, and allow them to automatically connect to the target endpoints right from the tool without knowing the password and the session being recorded. We have the second question. Can we set up a password policy for the service accounts? So Password Manager Pro does not set a password policy on the target. That is, doesn't set a password policy on your domain controller. So you can set a password policy within Password Manager Pro by creating add policy, providing all the rules for your passwords that you can set it up here, and you can match it with your domain controller. So when you generate and reset a password from Password Manager Pro, it goes out there and it resets the password using the new password policy that is being assigned. So we have another question. What is the best practices for storing password of service accounts in Password Manager Pro? So the best practice of storing the passwords of service accounts in Password Manager Pro is, so automatically when you discover these are the accounts, that is service accounts will be listed down in Password Manager Pro. And the service accounts or any domain account, privileged domain account like domain admin account, enterprise admin account that you want to reset, all gets tied into a single resource type called Windows domain. Personally, I don't recommend you to have your domain admin accounts added here inside this area. What you do is create a new account, a new resource manually, and with the same resource type, provide a perfect description about what these accounts are for, create a new resource. Don't have the same resource for both the service accounts and privileged domain accounts. So if you have multiple resources for both privileged domain accounts and service account, it will be easy for you to manage and also to share it to the required set of users. I think that's all the questions we have for today. So if you have any more questions, you can either drop me directly an email to Christus@ManageEngine.com, or you can drop your email to Password Manager Pro support@ManageEngine.com, and we'll be happy to help you out with the answers.
Thank you so much for your participation in this masterclass, and I hope you will all be available for the next upcoming sessions of our masterclass, which will be definitely useful, and it will help you in configuring and setting up Password Manager Pro so you wish in your IT organization. And thanks again. Have a wonderful day, everyone.